National Electrical Code Section 240.24F specifically addresses the location of overcurrent devices in relation to stairways. The rule states that overcurrent devices shall not be located over steps of a stairway. This is a critical safety requirement intended to prevent potential hazards associated with accessing or operating electrical equipment in a location where footing may be compromised. Consider the scenario where an electrician or homeowner needs to reset a breaker or perform maintenance on an overcurrent device. If the device is located directly above the steps of a stairway, the individual is forced to lean or reach awkwardly, increasing the risk of a fall. Furthermore, in an emergency situation such as a trip breaker causing a power outage, someone rushing to restore power in the dark could easily stumble on the stairs while trying to access the overcurrent device. The rationale behind this code requirement extends to the general safety of anyone who may need to interact with the electrical system. By prohibiting the placement of overcurrent devices above stairway steps, the risk of accidental contact with energized components during a fall is significantly reduced. This is especially important in residential settings where children or elderly individuals may be present. In commercial or industrial environments, the presence of stairways often indicates areas of high traffic or potential for carrying heavy objects, further emphasizing the need for unobstructed access to electrical equipment. It is important to differentiate between panel boards and overcurrent devices. A panel board is an enclosure designed for assembly of buses and automatic overcurrent devices and equipped with or without switches for the control of light, heat, or power circuits. Overcurrent devices, on the other hand, are protective devices designed to interrupt the flow of current when it exceeds a predetermined value. These devices include circuit breakers and fuses. The code specifically prohibits the placement of overcurrent devices, not necessarily the entire panel board, over stairway steps. However, in practical applications, it is often simpler and safer to avoid placing the entire panel board in such locations. When designing electrical installations, it is essential to consider the placement of overcurrent devices in relation to stairways. Firstly, determine the location of all stairways within the building. Secondly, identify potential locations for panel boards and other overcurrent devices. Thirdly, carefully evaluate each potential location to ensure compliance with NEC Section 240.24F. If a proposed location is directly above the steps of a stairway, an alternative location must be selected. When choosing an alternative location, consider factors such as accessibility, ambient temperature, and the presence of other equipment. Overcurrent devices should be readily accessible for maintenance and troubleshooting. They should also be located in an environment that is within the manufacturer's specified operating temperature range. Furthermore, ensure that the location provides adequate clearance for working on the equipment safely. In some cases, it may be necessary to relocate existing overcurrent devices to comply with the requirements of NEC Section 240.24F. This can be a complex and costly undertaking, but it is essential to ensure the safety of the electrical system and the occupants of the building. When relocating overcurrent devices, it is important to follow all applicable codes and regulations. This includes obtaining the necessary permits and inspections. It is also essential to use qualified electrical contractors who are familiar with the requirements of the NEC. In addition to NEC Section 240.24F, there may be other applicable code requirements that affect the placement of overcurrent devices. For example, NEC Section 110.26 requires adequate working space around electrical equipment. This working space must be clear and unobstructed to allow for safe maintenance and operation. It is important to consult the NEC and other applicable codes to ensure that all requirements are met. The placement of overcurrent devices is a critical aspect of electrical safety. By following the requirements of NEC Section 240.24F and other applicable codes, it is possible to minimize the risk of electrical hazards and ensure the safety of the building and its occupants. Always consult with a qualified electrical contractor to ensure that all electrical work is performed in accordance with the applicable codes and regulations. Remember that the NEC is a comprehensive document that is updated regularly. It is important to stay current with the latest revisions to ensure that all electrical work is performed in accordance with the most recent requirements. By understanding and following the NEC, electrical professionals can help to ensure the safety and reliability of electrical systems. Proper planning and installation are key to avoiding potential hazards associated with the placement of overcurrent devices. Consider the accessibility of the devices for routine maintenance and emergency situations. Ensure adequate lighting is available in the vicinity of the devices. Clearly label all overcurrent devices to facilitate identification and troubleshooting. Provide training to building occupants on the location and operation of overcurrent devices. Regularly inspect overcurrent devices to ensure that they are in good working condition. Replace any damaged or defective devices immediately. By taking these precautions, it is possible to create a safer electrical environment for everyone.